First, are strict parents the best parents? Is a disciplinarian approach the best way of bringing up a child? Spare the rod, spoil the child, they said, don't they? Though, of course, if you use the rod today, you'd end up in front of the beak for child abuse. But there is still no law against being firm. And yet the 21st century approach to parenting strikes me, by and large, as being pretty soft. Mums and dads trying to be chummy with their kids rather than keeping them in their place, rather than installing boundaries. And I'd like to know why. Is my generation reacting against the strict authoritarian approach we had to endure ourselves as children? In a moment, your calls, but first I want you to meet some Wright Stuff viewers who've joined us this morning. Father of four, Mick, comes from Cambridge. He's here with 13-year-old daughter Chantel. And Mick, you are a believer in firm parenting.
Fair but firm, I always say.
Fair but firm. What does that mean in the real world?
Then I listen to the children and understand what they're saying and where they're coming from, because obviously we're all being young. And I believe a firm approach, you know, bedtimes and school times, breakfast times, meal times, things like that. Going to school with their short skirts on and things like that, I don't particularly think is appropriate for
So
school.
if they try it on, if Chantal tries it on, what happens?
It happens every time. This day and age now, it's not a time of where we go around smacking our children. I think there's so many facilities around now, like mobile phones and computer games and things like that. These privileges taken away from them if they've done wrong is usually the sort of thing that brings them back into line.
OK, can I ask what kind of upbringing you had?
I had a fair upbringing.
Smacking as well? Were you smacked?
No smacking, just fair and firm, same as what I have.
OK, can we speak to your daughter, Chantal?
If you can.
So, what do you think of the style? How would you describe your dad's parenting?
Well, I guess sometimes he can be a bit over the top, like if I don't eat my breakfast within 20 minutes, then I'll have my phone confiscated for a few days, and that's like exaggerating a little bit. OK. Makeup, short skirts, stuff like that? Yeah, I'm not really allowed to wear makeup unless it's like really subtle and like it's not really over the top, like big mascara and everything.
What do you guys?
I'm with Mick.
Me too, absolutely.
Yeah, I think Mick's doing a great job. I think
He's a house husband, by the way.
Well,
one in 10 dads aren't.
Absolutely, I think
and
the right way.
The key thing is he's giving his daughter boundaries, and that's the most important thing. Mick's word is definitive, and you have to ease that, Mick, as your daughter gets older.
Absolutely.
But I think if the little child doesn't understand the father's word, then she's not a child. She'll just do what she wants. So
I just want to make this clear, because the ultimate sanction when I was a child was a smack. OK, we're going to come around to this in just a moment. But the ultimate sanction when I was a child was a smack. How do you enforce your rules? I mean, is it all taking things away?
Obviously, verbal is a way as well. You know, you can put across with vocals. You know, go to bed means go to bed. If I said go to bed, she'd just go ha ha. But go to bed, I mean it means go to bed. I really mean it.
And she goes.
It goes. Grounded or go to bed. She knows it means it. She knows it means it.
OK, fascinating. Now, I want you to meet another family that's in our studio today. We've got Effie, Londoner Effie, with a 17-year-old daughter, Rochelle, and Effie, how were you brought up?
I had a very strict upbringing, so strict that I ran away from home when I was 16 and a half.
Smacking, stuff like that?
Yeah, there was smacking, but it was mostly things like I wasn't allowed to have my own opinion, what my mother said when I had to go to school. I wasn't, I had to do what the teacher said, wasn't allowed to do any outside of school activities. You know, it was work, it was school, church, and then go to work for my mum. So
and that was it, all the way up through your teens and everything?
Until I was 16, yeah. Wasn't allowed to talk to boys, wasn't allowed to listen to pop music because, you know, it's about education. So I think she was trying her hardest, you know.
Yeah.
But it went the wrong way for me, completely the wrong way. So I just ran away from home when I was 16 and a half.
I'm going to take a guess here, and that you are a pretty laid-back parent.
Yeah. There are boundaries, but yeah.
So what does that mean? How easygoing can you be? Or have you been?
Well, I put the groundwork in from very young. You know, my daughter and I have always had a relationship of mutual respect. There's always been open. We've always been open and honest with each other. So that by the time
open and honest, you see, this makes me think it's this thing where you have sort of parents and their children are friends. Yeah. Would that be how you would describe your?
Not really, because there are times when I'm her friend, but there's also times when I'm her parent. You know, you have to take control. I mean, we have, sometimes we'll have discussions and she'll say to me, oh, but Mum, you're just so old-fashioned. But I'm her mum, I'm not her friend. You know?
And she thinks you're old-fashioned, and I'm sitting there thinking you're a trendy, yummy mummy who's right on the cutting edge of 21st century new age parenting.
No, she thinks I'm extremely old-fashioned when it comes to things like, you know, sex and things like that. You know, she says, oh, well, you know, if a teenager is going to do it, they're going to do it, which I totally agree with, but that doesn't mean that you should just openly go and give yourself to anyone. And she's like, oh, but, you know, she thinks my views are very old-fashioned in that sense.
I guess suspect there's actually that Effie and Mick have more in common than we might originally have thought.
The interesting thing is that parents have all the power. Mick has the mobile phone off his daughter if she's wrong. And so, you know, the idea that children can dominate parents, they can't. Because
what if you don't? Because I would have. I'll be absolutely honest, and don't do what I say. I would just say, no, you can't have my phone. Exactly. And then we would end up in a physical situation where the phone would be prized out of my fingers.
The point is, if that had happened since you were 8, you wouldn't say, your reaction wouldn't be, no, you can't have my phone. Honestly, you have to start, any of these things, you have to start from day one.
OK, and what about Rochelle? I mean, how would you describe your mum's?
My mum's, she's really good, like, I can tell her anything, like, and all my friends come to her for their problems because their parents think being strict helps, but then you don't want to tell your...
So your friends would say they have stricter parents?
Yeah.
And are they better or worse behaved than you are, by and large?
They're worse than me. Like, if I go to a party, I can just be like, Mum, I'm going to a party, and as long as I tell her where it is, what time I'll be home, she's all right with it. All my other friends, they have to say they're staying at each other's houses and then they get in trouble and then it's worse off for them.
Because your mum wouldn't stop you because she trusts you?
Yeah, but they don't trust, because they're always lying, because their parents are strict, they don't get no trust from their parents. And
Mick, do you trust your daughter?
I think she's still a bit young to be travelling and roaming around the streets, you know.
Yeah.
The system now of the streets is that every time you hear on the news, it's all ASBO's this and ASBO's that. So it scares people like me to not wanting to let the children out. Yeah. I try to promote Chantal, if she wants to do anything, then it's an after-school activity rather than hanging around the streets with her mates, because I don't think that's a great idea.
I think, Chantal, there's a lesson to be learned here from Rochelle, because I think that if you earn your dad's trust, you will be given the opportunity to do the things you want as you get a bit older. So I think there's looking at it. I'm surprised by how much you two, or you four, have in common. It's interesting. Let's meet our third family, Pauline from Cumbria, whose 10-year-old daughter, Elenia, is autistic. So are you... see, I'm thinking straight away you're going to be a soft parent. Are you a hard parent or a soft parent?
I'm very strict. I really am. She better not throw a tantrum when I'm in the room, because if she does, she's straight to her bedroom, because I'm not having it. I will not have it. She doesn't go anywhere without me, or her father, or her grandmother, even to after-school activities. And as you can see, it does work for her, but I will not put up with the screaming fit that you just heard 2 minutes ago either. I really just don't put up with it. I don't put up with bad behaviour.
I thought it was incredibly impressive, because you probably at home heard the noise, how you got control of that situation. Even in the stressful studio, you were the boss, even with an autistic child.
Yeah, well, she doesn't like crowds, so that, I'm used to that happening, and I'm used to bringing it straight back down, because I just...
But, I mean, they always say, don't they, that children need boundaries, they need a sense of discipline, they need a routine. Have you found that, being the parent of an autistic child, you need that even more so?
Absolutely, yeah, especially when I see other parents of disabled children not doing that, and you're just thinking, just shout at him at least once so he can hear it, so he knows he's doing wrong. You know, but it doesn't always happen.
See, because I know nothing about parenting, all right, which is it's a well-documented fact. I find it fascinating because I would have assumed that you would have been more hands-off, actually, and allowed Elenia to do and explore the world that she wanted.
Come on. Sorry.
It's all right. That's the kind of response my mum got from me, actually. Sometimes accompanied with hand gestures, yes. Do people find it strange to see you so firm on your daughter?
My mother thinks I'm very strict and she thinks I should back off a bit. But at the same time, when someone knows Alenia, knows what she can be like, when someone isn't being strict, they think it's fair enough. So it really depends on the person.
We've got 3 fantastic parents.